Back in 2012-ish, we identified a huge need with the chronically homeless in our community that weren't getting served. We also identified money in the community through the COC, HUD, that could help solve part of this problem if we kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together.
My name is Nicholas Coulter. I'm CEO and co-founder of Person-Centered Housing Options.
And I'm Chuck Albanese, co-founder and CFO of Person-Centered Housing Options.
Chuck and I realized that there was this opportunity to really take on this problem. Folks that were constantly on the streets, cycling through our systems and cycling through our emergency rooms. With the grace and love from our families, we were able to leave our jobs in 2015 and start PCHO. This space is where everything started. Chuck and I, in October of 2015, were working out of here, had a wood-burning stove, had interns coming in here. We were constantly out in the field because obviously we couldn't bring clients to our homes.
This is the weeds. This is the actual weeds, right down here. In the winter, I would go to St. Joe's on South Avenue, St. Joe's House of Hospitality. In the summer, I'd sleep here. I was about to give up. I had cancer for a year and a half, staying at St. Joe's. Felt like crap. I had no Medicaid. I had no welfare. Living on the streets, panhandling. My life was crap. I just wanted to die. I wanted to give up. PCHO is about helping people. And they go out of their way to help you. But you gotta help yourself too. That's the important thing. Maggie has gone out of her way, forwards and backwards, backwards and forwards, to help me and a lot of other people. Okay, that's what PCHO is about. Get people off the streets. Get them into housing. You know, I thought she was full of BS, but she kept coming by, coming by, coming by, coming by. I love this one.
PCHO's most powerful resource is the staff that we have. They are fearless in their approach and their consistency with the people that we serve. So what's most important is that we're there when we say we're going to be there. We consistently follow up with individuals that we serve, and that we provide them with a menu of services that meets their needs.
A lot of engagement.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Oh, sometimes it's every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes that person just wants to know that you're there and available. They'll send you a text, they'll give you a call, you'll set up a time and a place to meet every day just to check in. If you don't have a relationship with that person, if they don't trust you, if you don't have a good rapport, I would even say a friendship sometimes.
Yeah, oh sure.
You probably won't get them housed stably in the way that's going to be successful for them.
Sometimes the goals of working with somebody are very simple. Get them hooked up with a doctor. Let's get them so that they feel comfortable in their bed. We've had folks that wouldn't sleep in their own beds because they had slept on the floors or the concrete for so long that being above ground was so weird for them that they couldn't manage sleeping in a bed. I mean, imagine not being able to sleep in a bed.
Once a person's housed, it's really making sure that they have different tools or different access to different services that might help them succeed. You know, Access VR comes to mind, where they might need a digital training. We might help them, you know, maybe with a resume. We might help them get clothing, you know, to go for an interview. There's a wide gamut of things that we could do for them.
Well, I've been homeless off and on since my mother passed away in '93. So I have my ups and downs too. through them times. And if I wasn't incarcerated, I was in the streets until I had a shelter place.
And what has PCHO done for you?
They pay all the rent. And if I ain't had no job, they pay it. And like, wow, and God is good. It means a lot because it gave a person like me another chance, give me another chance at life. And it's been I had this problem about going on a year and a half. And so the last year or so, I've been having like 2.5 years so far.
Everybody deserves housing. Everybody has the right to housing. And sometimes it requires a little bit of support along the way. We want people to stay with us indefinitely or work to get jobs and work to get income that no longer requires our subsidies or our supports. And that's what Housing First is essentially all about.
I was addicted to alcohol, and I also suffer from mental health, so I went to the hospital to get treated. I was off my medication, and they said I wasn't unwell enough to stay as a patient, so they released me, and I told them I had nowhere to go, and they told me about the open door mission, and they had someone drop me off here, and that was January of 2019. I met a really good woman that was working here named Esther, and she kind of like took me under her wing, and I got sober. And I started doing outpatient treatment at Evelyn Brandon and going to meetings, and she saw how I was doing what I had to do. And then PCHO came to me like 5.5 months later, and told me that I was accepted into their program. And I haven't been here since. And that was 2 years ago. This is my casa. I just moved in the first, so like I still need like curtains and stuff, but don't worry. This actually is the living room, but I like big bedrooms. Yeah, and it's funny because everything came like at the perfect time. Right. Because it was like full-time job. Okay, you have to move. So I looked at it like a beginning of like a new era. I went to Coffee Connection, and she just was just like, "We would love you here right on the spot." And I was like, "Really?" And then I was going regularly, like it was actually my job. So it wasn't even like interning. It didn't feel like it at all. Like I was still waking up at 6:30 with the early birds and showing up and being active. And Janet was there, so like, and Cecily was there, and they trained me, and I kind of like got everything down in like a week. You know how crazy it is to go to somewhere, I'm not even gonna lie, that I was an addict and a prison inmate, and have the key to the shop, and I open and close every day by myself. And I'm responsible for register, inventory, like everything. So to have people trust you to that extent is like super powerful.
The fact that you have an arrest record made you more interesting
Right.
to us because you have more barriers. And we don't think that's fair. And I want to tell you that the difference from when you first came in to now, and we're very pleased and very impressed at how you've become a stable and important member of our staff.
It's not just a population we work with, it's a community. And if you are kind and caring and compassionate, that community will welcome you in. And I love that feeling. It's like so wholesome.
The homeless population has grown. I mean, I see different faces out there today. Like I said, I see young people out there. And that wasn't our issue. I mean, years ago or not too long ago, it wasn't an issue. But now, for that young group, it's an issue now.
PCHO is a true startup, and we're sitting in the barn where we actually started up. It's obviously not an Amazon, or it's not a for-profit agency or company, but it is a true startup. And with that, Nick and I have had to kind of scratch and claw for this little grant to this little grant to some pretty major grants. As we grow and expand, there's always not, unfortunately, finances for all of the things that we need, for the clients or for the programs that we serve or for the buildings that we're hoping to purchase. So, part of our goal is to really kind of explain, not only what we do, but where we're going. And without the continued support from the community or individual folks, in the form of donors, we really can't do that or continue to grow in the vision that we had.
This is my favorite thing, my keys. I can lock up and go out, and I can come home, unlock and go in. I love it.
We are continuing our coverage on politics, but also speaking of something that has been impacting this country in many cities across the country, which is homelessness. The rates have skyrocketed in the U.S. this past year. That's according to new data released from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. More than 650,000 people experienced homelessness in the U.S. in 2023. That is up 12% from the year before. For more on this, we're joined by Steve Berg. He's the Chief Policy Officer at the National Alliance to End Homelessness. Steve, why is there such a sharp increase over this past year?
Well, I think there's two things going on. One is the continuation of a multi-year trend of homelessness getting worse because the cost of housing is getting worse. Rents in a modest apartment have gone up faster than wages in a modest job for decades, and we're seeing it get to a critical point now. Then there are some shorter term things too. I think during COVID, there were supports for people to help pay their rent. There were restrictions on evicting people. Those have all now disappeared, and so we're seeing the short-term impacts of some of that are in these figures right here, which come from January of 23, that are very much affected by the short-term trends as well.
And as someone who works in advocacy for people who are experiencing homelessness, what is most concerning to you looking at this latest data? What story does it tell you?
Well, I think the most important thing, one, is you see these, as I said, these long-term trends. When you compare these numbers on homelessness with the other data that shows how rents in modest apartments are going up and continue to go up faster and faster, that you see that the basic underlying long-term trend is continuing until and then you see, the work done by Congress just is not coming to terms with this housing problem. The work done by Congress for federal funding. You see mayors around the country who are talking about this trend, but then not really doing anything to make affordable housing easier to get.
And I mean, I think a lot of people don't. When we talk about homelessness and when we talk about the economy, it's the fact that there is a housing crisis in so many places, and that the cost of housing and lack of access to affordable houses is really what pushes that. I think is such a big opportunity for politicians there to understand. We know homelessness is a chronic situation, which is especially concerning when you look at the numbers from comparing 2020 to 2022 and see how many people are experiencing homelessness for the first time, meaning they might continue down that track. What's the best way? What's the ideal way to break that cycle, or to have the whole system help people break that cycle?
Yeah, I think you saw it during the first year of COVID. Some of the interventions that really made a big difference. I mean, the federal government put money on the table that local communities could use. If people were in danger of losing their housing, they could get help paying the rent. And at the same time, the message went out to landlords: you can't evict people. If we, the government, are going to pay the rent and make you whole, make you the landlord whole, you can't turn around and evict people and leave them on the streets.
Right.
I think that was an intervention that really helped ward off homelessness for the first year or two of the COVID epidemic. But as I said, those provisions have disappeared for the short term. But I think we need to look at that as more of a permanent solution.
And then on top of that, we've seen cities criminalize homelessness. Talk to us about the greater issues that you're seeing and how instead of providing solutions or housing or building affordable housing, what we're seeing is people being criminalized for being left homeless.
Yeah, definitely seeing that in some communities. And we've always seen that. We've seen that for a long time. There's always been some places where people, rather than actually trying to solve the problem, they're just hoping they can make it go away by putting people in jail or scaring them away or whatever. It never works. I mean, it hasn't worked for 40 years, and it's not going to work now. It's just going to alienate people more from each other, whereas communities that have made progress on homelessness, one thing they all have in common is people work together to deal with this problem. The people who are homeless, the people who are in programs that serve homeless people, the mayors, the police, they all work together to come up with a solution. But criminalization is a way to drive people apart, and it makes the problem worse, not better.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Berg, thanks so much for all that.
All right. Thank you very much.
It's about 6-something in the morning. I wake up to the sound of these birds every morning. It's like birds can't help it. They've got to praise God that they're alive. I've got to sing is what they say. This is my sanctuary. Welcome to Kemp's Sanctuary. This is where I relax. I feel like I'm one with God in nature. God created it. I'm just enjoying it as He wanted me to enjoy it. So I got my tooth stored away in my little box. And this one came out so nice and easy, it wasn't too bad. It's a long bugger. This here was, like this dude's hair, all her hair. One less tooth to brush. I would say 3 weeks. It was swinging around, moving around, and I was having a hard time with it. But by age 45-ish, I started having the teeth problems. All right. Spaghetti-o meatball. That is dinner tonight. Not bad. What's funny is the only other food really that you can eat out of a can like this is about dog food. All right, I got to get ready here to reorganize. I've got so much canned food and stuff now in my tent. My tent's a little bit disbubbled and it bugs me. I got to straighten up some of the stuff that's in here because if I don't, I'll fire the maid. So now I moved to a new spot.
that a friend told me about, a small little encampment. A lady had taken pictures of the campsite, and I was told I had to vacate, so I did. Someone discovered it apparently because one night I walked up and there was a note that was left in place of where my tent was, just signed park staff. After not being able to get it, and it had been over a week, my stuff was confiscated, my tent, my winter boots, my 2 winter coats, all my mats that I slept on, my sleeping bag, comforters, pillow, books, and my personal Bible that I've had since I was 14. Normally I have my Bible with me, and I left it there that day. Unbelievable. Everything that's gone is a setback. You can't carry everything you own with you 24/7 a day. When you get comfortable and start putting it in one place, that's when someone can happen upon it. If you're not there 24/7, if you're gone 3 hours or an hour, someone can come and take what you have and can set you back months and months and months over and over again. We had a house, a beautiful house. Ranch style home, fireplace, alarm system that Trump couldn't beat. Damn thing had everything but lasers. Beautiful home. Around 44 or so, my wife showed symptoms of Huntington's disease. And our good life changed really bad. Anyways, my wife showed all these symptoms and I left my job at Rochester Housing Authority. I almost hit the 20-year mark. I used up a lot of time during her illness. Huntington's disease, Huntington's chorea as it's called, is it slowly rots the brain away. And it takes that person's, somewhat of their personality away and their mobility.
My wife's at the latter stages, and it's hard for me to visit her and see her. And she's my everything. She's my everything.
I know you love me. Oh, stop it. Shh. So, all right, I love you, dear. And I want you to relax tonight. And when you go to bed, I want you to think about me and smile. And I'm going to think about you and smile. And I'm going to call you tomorrow. I'll probably call you early tomorrow. Hello? Oh, she probably hit the button by mistake. It's all hung up. That's all right. She'll probably go to bed. At least I got to hear her voice. You know if I should call her back or not. James J. Swan.
What's your education level?
12th grade.
Do you have a case manager?
No.
So this is a release form for person-centered housing options, my organization. So I might need information from DHS, the information from any care management system, any shelter you've stayed at.
That's no problem. I got nothing to hide.
Okay.
How long has it been since I was in a place?
Yeah. Staying indoors, either with somebody or your own place.
My own place was, I was there up until July 11th, 2015.
Okay.
To have security and safety and warmth and the conveniences of washing your own clothes and
those are things that you deserve.
Right.
Everyone does. It shouldn't be a convenience or.
I thank you very much. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm glad you didn't give up on me.
I'm persistent. So, hey, they were like, hey, Jim's busy. And I'm like, let me get in there and talk to him.
I hear you.
I was having a rough time again as usual, falling asleep last night, even though it's peaceful and quiet, just suffered from anxiety or panic attacks. But I decided I'm going to lay down for a few minutes and close my eyes, not thinking about things right this minute.
A lot of times I think it's memories that are triggered when I'm asleep, which is why I'm also not in a shelter. They don't like 40 or 50 men hearing you scream at 2, 3 in the morning when it's lights on at 6 a.m.
This is Scully. He's like a little guy I talk to sometimes when I just want to shoot the breeze. You sort of entertain yourself, talk to. He's a good listener. He doesn't tend to jabber on and talk too much. We don't get in any arguments at all. I call him names once in a while, but, you know, what are friends for?
One to the main front door and one to my apartment door. I haven't had nothing put on this key ring in the longest time. And now I finally have keys. Can't ask for a better view for me. Nice, very nice. I'm very thankful and excited. And I know they've had problems with tenants in here, but they won't have a problem with me, that's for sure. Look at that, instant heat. If I had that in my tent, I'd be able to cook and heat the entire tent forever. Nice. I figure my tent could go right up in this corner. The fireplace, I don't have a problem. I put a lot of rocks around in a circle. I feel good. I feel blessed. I feel like this is a step in the right direction. And now I'll have at least a chair and soon a bed. I have a chair. Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, John.
Set this all up, right?
John,
You've
if
done
I,
a few.
yeah, if I hand you a couple of dollars, I'd tip you, buddy.
That's all right.
Only thing I can say is, God bless you, and thank you so much. I thought this was the old screw type deals, but these are slotted. So all you gotta do is that. This is the beginning of a new era for me now. This is a step in the right direction that only took 2.5 years. I have an apartment, and I'll be safe, secure, warm. It gets crappy and messy outside. I can plan to stay inside and plan otherwise. So going to get my hair cut. Here we're going.
Yep.
Right.
Snip, snip.
I haven't had my hair cut professionally now in probably a good 3 years.
3 years?
At least.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't had it cut. I cut it myself, but I haven't had it cut properly, that's for sure. I haven't had that cut out yet, but I have that cyst right there, and that sometimes creates a problem when a barber is trying to trim your hair, because I like a little hair to, you know, to sort of cover up that a little bit. You see how I've gotten a little bit shaggy, but now I won't look shaggy. I'll be able to go there and feel like a new person that I do feel like anyways. I mean, that's unbelievable. How nice is that, man? Unbelievable. Wow. About 3.5 months now I've been here in this apartment. I thank God for everything that has happened. I mean, everything's been given to me. From the clothes I'm wearing to everything in this apartment. I didn't have any of this stuff. All I had was a few clothes and such. Many times I wake up at night and I just look around because I just want to make sure it's real, it's not a dream. Because I've had dreams in the past and I wake up and I'm like, wow, I wish that was real. I wake up, I'm glad to see it, and that's why I try to take care of it. I got a nice comfortable bed. I got a bathroom right nearby, a kitchen right there with a fridge, everything works good. I don't think I'll have to ask for much help except just company. I do get lonely at times, but I cope with it. I cope with it.
So, Heavenly Father, thank you again, as I say every morning. Thank you for another day. And let's make the best of it. And good Lord, seeing you give me another day.